Hello, Heidi. Thank you for meeting with me.
Of course, thank you for inviting me.
Do you mind spelling out your name for me?
Yeah, it's Heidiray.
All right, thank you. Do you mind giving me a brief introduction on who you are and what you do?
For sure. My name is Heidi Ray. I'm a sophomore here at KU studying data science and mathematics. I'm also the president of Sellard Scholarship Hall and the internal affairs officer for the ASHC, or the All Scholarship Hall Council.
Can you describe the role and responsibilities of being one of the presidents of a scholarship hall?
Absolutely. So what it looks like for me is I oversee the executive board of my scholarship hall. So that includes my vice president, my secretary, my treasurer, and then a lot of supplementary positions that come after that, such as social chair or historian. We have a lot of jobs to make things work in the hall and to plan events and to keep up the long-standing tradition of scholarship halls at KU. And I also have to plan all the meetings and lead the meetings, and a lot of halls have different events specifically that the presidents are responsible for, but in Sellards we have an event called International Dinner, and it happens in the spring, and it's the president's responsibility to plan it. It's actually in our constitution, so a lot of the presidents in the halls get all of their duties from the hall constitutions.
Thank you. I know it's not mandatory to have an exec position in your hall, so what motivated you to become the president of Sellards?
So I started living here my freshman year, and I'm a sophomore now, but when I came here my freshman year, I was from Lawrence, but I didn't really know anyone in the halls, and I didn't really know anyone who went to KU because most of my close friends from high school left and went out of state. So when I got to KU, I kind of felt like I was starting over, and I was really lucky to end up in Sellards because I've made a whole bunch of new friends, and it's been a wonderful experience finding a community that works for me. And so first and second semester of freshman year, I just spent a lot of time discovering what college was going to look like for me and making new friends that hopefully I will have all throughout college. And then at the end of second semester of my freshman year, we were doing elections, and I knew I was going to live here again, and I realized I just cared a lot about the hall, and I wanted to give back to the scholarship hall community that had done so much for me over the year. And I just realized that being president was something I really wanted to do. I knew someone had to do it, and I figured I could do a pretty good job at it. And I just wanted to be able to show my community that I care about it and try to make a difference in my hall.
Well, it seems like you have a pretty strong sense of community. How are you doing that, or keeping that sense of community in your hall now with being the president and not just the normal resident?
Yeah, so the exec board as a whole has to work really hard to try to foster that sense of community, because that's something that I think the scholarship halls in general are known for, and that's something they can do really well because, a scholarship hall is it's a group of 50 people living in a house together. And so you're in pretty close quarters, and you kind of get to know everyone, you know everyone's name, and it's a really great community. Anyway, as an exec board, I think the best thing we do is just plan events and try to make things happen. And then specifically as president, I did my best to learn everyone's name early on and to check in with them about how everything was going and try to invite people to join us and stuff. Just things like that. And then if I see an opportunity for an event that my social chairs haven't already brought up, I try to raise that to their attention and help plan it whenever I can. But yeah, I just do whatever I can to try to make the scholarship hall community happen in Sellards.
Thank you. Could you walk me through a typical week as president as well as the ASHC internal affairs officer?
Yeah, definitely. So on Sunday night, the ASHC meetings are on Mondays. So on Sunday night, I start prepping all of my material. I look over the budget because as internal affairs officer, my job is to run the budget as well as manage attendance. So I check in on all of the attendances and see if they're up to date or if anything needs to be addressed. Then I also check in on the budget. I receive funding requests from everyone in the halls, so people can send me a form that I created saying that, oh, we want this money from this budget. And then I go through that and process it, and I make sure it's ready to present to the full council. And then there's also a co-curricular front, which is a way for students to get money for things like studying abroad or just like professional endeavors. So that's another thing I get funding requests for, but I basically just process all of the forms I receive. It's anywhere from like 2 to 10 requests in 1 week. So I go through all those on Sunday night, and then on Monday I have to go to the meeting and I present a budget overview, and we have to go through and vote on all the funding requests. And then on Tuesday, the day after, I have to send out the notes I took during the meeting. And then throughout the rest of the week, nothing too crazy. I just have to kind of stay on top of all the emails that I receive from people and the text on GroupMe that I receive from members of the council. And then like specifically as Sellards president, I kind of just have to manage all of the texts and questions I get from my residents about meetings or about hall procedure or shifts, just stuff like that. So I kind of just have to keep an eye on my email and text situation. And yeah, the beginning of the week is pretty busy, but after that I'm basically just managing emails and texts.
Okay. I've been to a couple of ASHC meetings myself, and I know they kind of vary in time. Could be 2 hours to 45 minutes. So
exactly.
How do you keep I guess morale up in yourself with wanting to keep on doing these extra roles?
It definitely is a lot of work. It's a commitment, but the more I do it, I have found that I think it's pretty rewarding, just because I like being able to give back, because someone's got to do it, and no one else really was interested in doing either of my jobs. I ran unopposed for both, but I have taken them on in stride, I think, and I just tell myself that someone's got to do it, and I think I'm doing an okay job of it, so I just try to keep going with it,
Thank you. In what ways do you collaborate with other scholarship halls to kind of form a bond with other communities outside of just Sellards?
So I think first off, the ASHC is a great example of that, because it's all the scholarship halls meeting. Every Monday, 2 people from each hall have to go to those meetings, so we're kind of representatives are all in the same room. So I think the ASHC itself is a really big collaboration between halls. But additionally, Sellards has a brother hall called Pearson. They're our neighbors, and we do a lot of joint events together. We do Pearson and Sellards movie nights. Our joint name for the 2 halls is Spearson, so we have Spearson Thanksgiving, Spearson parties. We had a Spearson Piñata night. There's just a lot of things that we get to do together, which is really exciting, and that's one of my favorite parts about the halls, is that there's so many new people to meet. You never run out of people.
What events have you implemented within Sellards to enhance, the living experience, or make it a little more different than living in Daisy Hill, I guess? For
sure. I think the first one that comes to mind is this past weekend we did a Galentine's event where we set up a mocktail bar, and everyone got to make their own mocktails, and we made Valentines, and it was a lot of fun to help put that together. There were 4 of us on the exec board who worked together to set that event up, and it was a really good time. We had a really good turnout, and we all just sat around and drank mocktails and ate fruit and brownies and did crafts, and it was really fun. We all burned ourselves on hot glue guns, but other than that, it was a really good time.
How do you support and advocate for the needs of residents within the halls?
Yeah, so every other week I meet with her name is Amanda Salazar, and we meet and discuss how it's going in the hall. She's our assistant complex director, so she's in charge of Pearson and Sellards. She oversees our executive boards, and in general, she's just always there to help us out, to help plan events. But our biggest problem we have in Sellards right now is that our ice maker has been broken for God knows how long. And so I go to her whenever I can about that, and anytime something breaks or goes wrong, she's just always there to hear about it and to try to come up with solutions to that, especially if there's ever drama in the hall. She helps mediate that, and one of my jobs as president unofficially is to hear about all the drama that goes on in Sellards.
Is Sellards a big drama hall?
We can be. We have our fun.
Okay. What do you enjoy most about being the president of Scholarship Hall as well as being the internal affairs officer at the ASHC?
Like I said earlier, I find it really rewarding, but I think on top of that, it's just given me the opportunity to learn a lot of new skills. I've had to learn a lot about Excel in my budgeting endeavors, but on top of that, I've also just had to grow my people skills and, working on delegation and problem solving, and basically, I think mediation has been a skill I've had to learn also, because especially in the ASHC, there's some conflict sometimes about how to use money or just things like that of course would come up when we're all very passionate about it. And so I think one of my jobs is to try to help mediate that. But I think it's just really rewarding, and it's helped me build my skills that I think will serve me later in life. But it's also just a lot of fun. I really enjoy it. A lot of my friends are also involved, so we get to do it together.
Thank you. Lastly, would you recommend living in Scholarship Halls to any incoming freshmen and incoming college students?
Yeah, absolutely. It's such a great place to live. I mean, I've met so many wonderful people, and I think so many of my friends as I continue through college are going to be people I've met from the Scholarship Halls. And it's honestly it's been a really great place to live. Everyone's very kind, and there's always someone to help you with everything. If you're in a class and you're having a hard time, there's probably someone who, if not has taken the class, then can at least assist you with it. They know what they're doing. And that's really helpful. And then also, just within the Scholarship Halls, if you, need something, I'm sure someone has it. The, very common idea of, the neighborly, oh, can I borrow a cup of flour? That's something Sellards and Pearson do with each other all the time. And I just think that's a really great representation of what it's like to live in the Scholar Halls and the community that we've built here. And we all are very passionate about it, and we work really hard to maintain it. So I think I would recommend it if you're willing to put in the effort and make it your own. I think it's as great as you let it be and however much time you put into it. So, yeah.
Thank you so much for meeting with me. I appreciate spending your time doing this interview.
Of course, I had fun. I love talking about the halls.
Thank you.